Rohan's Corner, Rohan's Corner. That show's awesome, awesome. It's so awesome, oh so awesome, awesome, awesome. Doesn't Rohan's Corner collect GoBots? That would be really lame. One of the many robot franchises on his show. He treats them all the same. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. He's got a wall of fame. Awesome.
Thank you, my friends. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rohan's Corner with another exciting episode for you this week. It's all about minifigures, and you may be wondering, Rohan, what are minifigures? Well, I'll tell you. And it's a bit of a funny story, really, because if you'd asked me 10 or 15 or even 20 years ago, Rohan, are you going to be collecting Generation 1 inspired miniature figures in the future that don't transform and are just little plastic lumps that you can look at? I would have laughed at you. However, fast forward that period of time and now we're into the sort of likes of collecting where you've got all the characters, you've had them all several times, you've had them all from Hasbro several times, and you've had them all from third parties several times, and you've had them in various different scales several times, and you're thinking, where do I go next? And part of you is thinking, well, I like to create dioramas and displays and have act out battle scenes and all that kind of good jazz. And this is where, in my opinion, the minifigures come in. And I guess to an extent, some of this has been influenced by my love for the Legends scale Transformers in 3P that have come about in the last sort of 5-7 years, and Magic Square and New Age and Fans Toys and Doctor Who, etc., etc., etc. Iron Factory have been knocking it out of the park in this area. However, Hasbro and some of the other likes have been getting in on the act. And here I've put out for you a little splattering of various different minifigures I've been collecting down the years. Some are 3P, some are official, some are not, some are weird and wonderful things, and we shall have a quick look and go through them. But it's all really been inspired by the purchase more recently of these three Takara official Metalcore or metal collection figures that I picked up on AliExpress. They are just 3 characters from G1, but there are movie characters as well. Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Bumblebee are the G1 characters. Takara officially licensed products, very, very heavy, very, very die-cast infused, wonderful paint schemes, articulation. We'll go through the lot. It's gonna blow your mind at this review because there's just there's not that much to say about them, but they are cool and they're about 9-10 quid each. I picked up all 3 recently and I'm very happy with them. So let's go into it, shall we? Alright, starting off on the left hand side here with Shockwave. Shockwave comes from the officially licensed Jada Nano Metal Figs range. He's one of the 3 series sets that have been released so far. I have Series 1 and Series 2, and I also have on this side here Ultra Magnus, so you can see him next to Shockwave. For scale purposes, in terms of detail and articulation, they are die cast. They do have a little cold, weighty feel to them, which is nice. Lovely metallic paint colors as well. Little face sculpt there, which is pretty decent, and detailing is nice to see. Color scheme's really well done. However, if we look at Ultra Magnus, he is less good, shall we say. He's missing his antenna, his missiles on his sides are unpainted, certain aspects of the paintwork just looks a bit blobby because of the way in which he is formed. And so, you know, for about £1 or £2 per figure, they are not bad. And you can pick these up still from Bargain Max and Amazon. Here we have a little Kremzik. I can't remember which one this is, possibly the one that came with the Reflector 3-pack, the Takara Siege triple pack. We have the Spike with Quickie, is it? Or yeah, Spike figure from the Studio Series 86 movie line. A couple of the tiny little, I believe these two are from iGear, and they are Spike and Sparkplug from their little range. They have articulation in the arms. They came with little accessories in the guise of a wrench and a hat and such like. Moving along next to them, we have a 5-pack of miniature sculpts that I purchased from AliExpress. These are available on a few places in China, but they're quite hard to get hold of, and they are tiny little sculpts of all the G1 characters, human characters that we had predominantly in the show. So we've got Spike here, we've got Chip Chase in his wheelchair, and he looks really good. We have Dr. Arkaville, the evil, menacing, maniacal doctor that he is, Sparkplug, and Carly. And I actually have 2 sets of these somehow I've managed to acquire over time, but they're a cool little bunch. The only thing is they cost a bomb. They're about 50-60 pounds for the 5 of them, and so they are very expensive. In the background we have Masterpiece scale Astoria from the Masterpiece Powerglide figure. She doesn't really look like Astoria for me. She's sort of a bit 21st century, but you know, there's a figure there. And next to her is Spike with his lunchbox, which came from the Art Feather Classics Bumblebee set, which I had many years ago. If you guys remember, there was a launch in the UK at Poundland stores of these sort of mini figures, if you like, to commemorate Transformers Generation 1 characters, and here is Optimus Prime. At the same time in the US, there were another line of 6 characters in the dollar stores, which sort of went hand in hand with these Poundland stores, and you can see the difference in the quality between the two. The paintwork here on the Poundland Prime is not great. There's no articulation, and he doesn't have any moving elements, whereas this Soundwave figure, if you ask me, the paintwork is pretty decent, and also the face sculpt, you can make out his face a lot better than on Prime's, and he's holding a pose. So while neither of them have any die cast on them or anything in the way of articulation, I would suggest the dollar ones are better, and although there were only 6 of them, they were pretty cool. This gold Optimus Prime here, I have absolutely no idea where he came from. I bought him on the groups. Obviously he has this chic 2-tone gold color. He's got articulation in his arms and legs, and you can, I think, pop them off, but I'm not going to. It's just a very cool little non-transforming Prime, which I had to have. At the front here we have the more recent minifigures that have been coming with the Masterpiece Jetfire in the guise of Optimus Prime, who has articulation in both his leg, hip joint, I guess, and his arms, and he's even got an elbow joint, which is very cool. You cannot swivel his head, but it gives, and he's got knee joints as well, which is very cool. And the paintwork is really good for this scale. You can make out all the little details on him in terms of his eyes and his mouth and his windscreen, obviously, like the crotch area if you want to, Alexis. And then the same goes for his 2 little buddies, Jazz and Wheeljack. Wheeljack comes with his Hocus Pocus little contraption that he designed for Attack of the Autobots to put them back into the same state. And again, they have the same sort of articulation, waist, knee and arm joints, but the detail on them is really good for this tiny little scale. Then we move over to their sort of competitor set, which came from X-Transbot's Perceptor or Jansen, and that was these 3 figures here in the guise of Perceptor, Brawn and Bumblebee. And again, they have lovely metallic paintwork on them. They do have lots of articulation. In this case, you've got an elbow and a knee and ankle joint here and a shoulder joint, and they're all ball joints, and even his telescope moves around, and you know, it's great. But the finish on the face is not good. I suppose when you're looking at something this scale, it's very hard to get right, and obviously Bumblebee has his eyes on his cheeks, which is not great. At the same time, they came with Perceptor in his alternate mode, who I have sitting at the back on Teletran 1 up there. You may just be able to make him out. He is just there to be used like they did in the Generation 1 episodes with Chip Chase, looking at him to magnify Teletran 1's findings, which I find really cool. Next, let's move on and look at these new Metalcore figures. So I mentioned we've got Megatron. Geez, these are heavy in comparison to the others. Prime and Bumblebee, and they all come with weapon accessories. So Bumblebee comes with this tiny little pistol. They do have slight articulation, mostly just in the arms here, so you can put the arms up. You can twist the head. There is a waist joint here. Nothing in the legs for Bumblebee. And Bumblebee's one of those characters I probably wouldn't have put him with a gun, but it's fine. It's a puny little pew pew, and you can have fun with it. And if we turn him around and look at the back, like Alexis likes to do, it's well finished. Okay, there's one screw in there. That is it. Megatron for me is the best of the bunch, because not only has he got a wonderful face sculpt, lovely paintwork, but he comes with his shoulder cannon and his rear top cannon here to give the full G1 look. And again, he's got articulation in the arms, the waist, the head, and you can actually pop off these parts. They come off. They come separately when you buy the figure. Nothing in the legs, but geez, it's heavy and cold and feels great. And the middle section is actually like a rubberized plastic, which is nice to see different materials being used on these at this price point. Less than 10 quid is pretty impressive. And again, Prime, we've got his rifle, we've got his smokestacks, got his head with his antenna in there, a little silver paint here on the fuel gauges, and everything that you'd expect from a nice little Prime figure. And I think they look fantastic, although they don't particularly scale really well with anything else I have, and that's the problem with a lot of these little minifigures, is that none of them are designed to scale with others, and nobody's made like loads of them except for third-party guy who charges way too much money for them. So yeah, that's what we've got. And then moving over to the right, we have the older I-Gear pair of Spike and Daniel here, who do have a little bit of articulation. As you can see, they are pretty flat. And you can move the arms, you can open up the helmets here and see their faces. There's nice color accents here. You can flip up the feet and transform the knee. I don't think they fully transform. I like the fact that they put in the backpack here and the shoulder pylons, which is cool, which we used in the show. And then at the back here we have Daniel from the Masterpiece Bumblebee set, and he comes with exosuit with those pylons there, and he has quite a lot of bits on him, which is actually quite nice for such a figure. You can obviously detach his helmet there to show off his wonderful head, which is terrible, to be honest with you. So why you'd would want to do that, I don't know. And this is the KO one, so it may not be as good quality as the official Masterpiece one, I don't know. And then moving along, we have these tiny, tiny little figures. I believe there's two of them. There's Bumblebee and there's Starscream. I haven't got a Starscream because he looks absolutely foul and his head is all silver and it doesn't work at all. But this little Bumblebee, I think it's like £1 in B&M stores. And then here we have from the I-Gear Teletran 1 control set a little sound wave alt mode, which is very cool. Recently I picked up Generation 1 Countdown, the MicroMaster playset, which is of course of a rocket ship, and not only does he have the ability to open up the ship there, we can even put some of these minifigures in. So the X-Transbots guys, they fit in quite nicely. We've got space in there for some of the human characters that I showed you earlier, the likes of Spike and Dr. Archibald if you really want to. Even little old Kremzik can get in there, but some of the larger ones, they're going to struggle a little bit. That Gold Prime, for example, is way too big, and even these new ones that I've got from Takara, they're too big, unfortunately. And so that is it from me this week. I hope you've enjoyed that episode of Rohan's Corner. What are your thoughts on Transformers minifigures? Are they crappy Action Masters, or do they have a place in the Transformers world? Should Hasbro and Takara be making more of these for us to use as play devices, either with Micromasters or with just general playsets in general? What are your thoughts? Let us know here on the show, and I hope to see you again next week. Back to the studio.
Transformers, Rohan's in disguise.